Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. So it's that time of the month where I need to talk to you guys about all of the books that I read in June, because let me tell you, I had some really great reads this month. I'd say like 50% of them were like, they became like some of my top favorite books like ever. So it was a really good reading month for me, so I need to talk to you guys about the books that I read. So in the month of June, I read 2 romances, 1 fiction, 1 thriller, and 2 historical fiction, which is a total of 6 books and 2,038 pages. And then after I talk to you guys about all of the books I read in June, I'm going to show you guys some of my July TBR, some of the books that I will hopefully get to in July, because there's also some 5-star predictions in this pile. So let's quickly go through all the books that I read in June, starting with the romance. So first, one of my favorite books of the month, but also just like it was kind of eye-opening for like romance books, because I found one of my new favorite romance authors. We have Same Time Next Summer by Annabelle Monaghan. This is my second book that I read from her. I read Nora Goes Off Script a few months ago and I absolutely loved it. Just from that alone, I've been really excited to get to the rest of her books, so I decided to pick up this one. And I actually went into this book with really low expectations, because I had seen people talk about how this is their least favorite Annabelle Monaghan book, so I had my expectations low, which I think probably helped me enjoy it more. We're basically following Sam, who is going to New Jersey to her parents' beach house where she spent summers for years, and she's now 30, I believe, but she spent her summers there from when she was a kid until she was a young adult. And next door to her family's beach house lives Wyatt and his family, who they start as childhood best friends, but then eventually they develop feelings for each other and they have a relationship, but they end up having a big falling out that we don't know about until we flash back and forth through the past and present timeline to eventually learn what happened between them. And in the now timeline, Sam is engaged to her fiance Jack, and the reason why they're back in New Jersey is to look at a wedding venue there. And basically during the time that they're staying there, Sam runs into Wyatt, and then you're dealing with the drama of her first love being at the same beach house as her new love, and she's just trying to balance both of these lives, her old one and her current one, and just kind of learning about herself. The thing I love most in Annabelle Monaghan's books is that we're following like a bigger storyline, but it all really revolves around our female main character. So I would honestly categorize her books as like women's fiction, even though the romance is such a huge plot in her books. I feel like our female main character discovers so much about herself that I feel like it could be categorized as women's fiction. And I just absolutely love Annabelle Monaghan's writing and just the way that she can set the setting. Oh my god, the summer atmosphere, the summer setting in this book was so good and I just loved it. So this I actually gave what did I rate this? 4.5 stars, 4.75, I can't remember, but I absolutely loved this book and I can't wait to get to her other 2 books. Okay, so the next book that I read was The Roughest Draft. So in this we are following Katrina and Nathan, and they used to be co-authors. They wrote a book together that was very successful, but they stopped writing together because they had a huge falling out, and we don't know what happened. But now in the present timeline, they're both kind of struggling with their careers, and so the only way to kind of revive that for them is to end up writing another book together. And they both kind of hate each other at the beginning, so writing a book together is not the ideal scenario for either of them. But they end up at a beach house in Florida writing another book together, and so we're following the present timeline of all of the like angst and tension and hatred. Literally it felt like they hated, like I don't know, it was like really uncomfortable at times, like the way that they like actually like were furious with one another. So we're following them try to write the book together while they're feeling that way about each other, and then we are flashing back to the past when they were writing their very successful book, basically leading up to their huge falling out. I just personally, I could not connect to either of the main characters. I couldn't connect to their romance. I didn't really care, and this was so just unmemorable for me. So I think I rated it like 3 stars, just because I would recommend it for, first of all, writers, because if you're writing a book, this will give you so much motivation, so much inspiration, because it did for me. Like, it pushed me through the rest of my first draft of my book. It was just like the best inspiration, the best motivation. So I would recommend it for that. And then also it gives like the summer vibe a little bit. Okay, now we're moving on to my most recent read that I absolutely loved. We have The Perfect Couple by Ellen Hilderbrand. So this is my first Ellen Hilderbrand book. I didn't know what to expect. I had heard that there was like drama in her books and they're very captivating and they're like pure just entertainment. Like they're perfect beach reads, they're perfect entertainment, but I didn't know exactly what to expect. I had searched TikTok after finishing The White Lotus season 3. I was like, please give me book recommendations that give the same vibes as The White Lotus, and this is one of the books that popped up. And because I had already heard such great things about Ellen Hilderbrand, I got this one. And let me tell you, this will definitely end up being one of my favorite books of 2025. I absolutely devoured this. We're basically following like several different POVs at this wedding because a maid of honor, she ends up dead the morning of the wedding. So we're basically following this huge murder mystery and there are so many characters, and we're actually following, like, we follow the POV of the bride's mom, and then both of the groom's parents and the chief and Nantucket itself. So I just absolutely loved it, and the setting was so good. And it's like, it's crazy because there's so much drama in here that I felt like I was watching a reality TV show. Plus you get the murder mystery element to it as well. So I just absolutely loved this, and I wrote this in my GoodReads review. I was like, this is the first book where 500 pages did not feel like 500 pages. It felt like I could have kept reading for like another 500 pages. Like it didn't feel the length that it was. It was just so captivating, so intriguing. I loved this, and I am so excited to read the rest of her books. If you have any recommendations for her books, please let me know. I do have one other on my July TBR, but other than that, please let me know your recommendations of her book. Okay, so now let's move on to the one thriller that I read. We have The Fury by, I've never been able to pronounce his name, so I'm not even gonna try, but he's the author of The Silent Patient, which is why I was so excited to pick this one up, because The Silent Patient was, I think, like the first like real thriller that I read from Book Talk, and I rated it at 5 stars back in like 2021, 2022. So I was very excited to pick this one up, especially because it takes place in Greece. So if I'm being entirely honest, this book was so just not, I don't know, I can't really remember it. It didn't stick with me at all. So I'm just going to explain it to the best of my memory. So basically we're following a narrator telling a story to us. We're basically the listeners of this person telling us a story about a murder that happened to his like friend group, and we know that he's part of it. We just don't exactly know who this person is at first. Oh, it literally says on the back who it is. Okay, so we know who the person is, and basically him and his friend group go to Greece on a little vacation, and someone ends up dead, or people end up dead, and we don't know what happened or anything. He's telling us the story, but then it just keeps jumping to different plot lines, and like he's like, oh wait, I should probably have mentioned this detail, or oh, you know what, let's go back in time. And it's just like, it jumps all over the place. The pacing is really strange, and I don't know, I didn't absolutely love it. So I ended up rating this 2.5 stars because I just could not connect to a single character, and I didn't really care about what was happening. And again, the pacing was just so confusing for me. It just wasn't my favorite whatsoever, but the setting was pretty good for the summer, I'd say. Okay, so now let's move on to the 2 historical fiction books that I read. So I am very new to this genre. The only books that I've read in this genre are one Stephen King book and a few Taylor Jenkins Reid books. So I'm very new to the historical fiction genre. So first, let's talk about Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. If she's releasing a book, I don't care what it's about, I don't care when it takes place, I am going to read it. So I didn't pay attention much to what it was about, so I wasn't expecting anything that happened in this book, but oh my gosh. So in Atmosphere, we are following our main character Joan in a 1980 timeline where she is one of the first women to ever join the NASA space program to be an astronaut. She's always dreamed of being an astronaut, and now NASA is finally allowing women into the astronaut program. So she is one of the first women. So we're following her journey through that whole dynamic, and then her bond with all of the other astronauts in her group. And eventually it does become a romance plot line with another astronaut in her astronaut group, but oh my god, it is literally the most endearing romance I've ever read about. It is just so sweet, and the way that Taylor Jenkins Reid writes, the way that she writes her characters, it's just you literally end up caring so deeply about these characters that you don't even know how it happens. You're like suddenly crying your eyes out to the words in this book because you suddenly care so deeply about these characters. You don't even know how it happened. You're just like suddenly you love these characters. And so then in the 1984 timeline that we start out in, and then we like keep flashing back to until eventually the 1980 timeline becomes the 1984 timeline. So in that time, in 1984, members of Joan's astronaut group, so other astronauts, are actually up into space, and there turns out to be a tragedy in space, and Joan is in the mission control room. Is that what it's called? Mission control room? Like I said, you connect to these characters, to this story so strongly that literally if you watched my reading vlog where I read this, you saw me bawling my eyes out to the last few pages. I just couldn't help it. It was just like, it just came from within me. I literally couldn't help it. So I ended up rating this 4.25 stars because there were times when it got pretty heavy into the space talk, and like I said in my reading vlog, I am not a science girly. I've never understood it. I've never enjoyed it. It's not my thing. So whenever it got into the space talk, the science talk, I was just like kind of spacing out a little bit. And that's literally my only problem I had with this book, is that I just couldn't deal with that. It was just like I got lost, literally lost every time that got brought up. So that's the only reason why it was a 4.25 and not something higher. But I absolutely loved this book. I love all of her books so much. They're just so incredible. And the last book that I read in June, we have All We Were Promised by Ashley Lattimore. So this, again, I'm so new to the historical fiction genre, so honestly, like, I don't know if it's this specific book that I didn't necessarily love, or if it is the historical fiction genre that I'm not like entirely in love with. I don't know. I need to dive deeper into the genre before I actually make a decision on whether or not it's for me. But in this book, we're basically following 3 different women's POVs in 1837 in Philadelphia, and one of our main characters, Charlotte, she's actually a runaway slave, and then we're following Evie, who is Charlotte's cousin, but Evie is still with their slave owner because she didn't run away, but Charlotte and her dad did. And then we were following Nell, who's an abolitionist who wants to help Evie escape her slave owner. So we're following these 3 women's point of views, and we're seeing the hardships that these women are going through. I don't know, it's just like, it's very deep and meaningful, and I don't even know how exactly to describe this because they go through a lot. And it's very, I don't know, I was just like really nervous the entire time. I'm like, please, like, what is going to happen? It wasn't that I didn't enjoy it, because I really did, and I would recommend it. It's just, it wasn't really for me, I feel like. I don't know, but I would recommend it because it was really interesting to hear a story like this. So these are the 6 books that I read in June. Obviously, you guys know my favorites from these, and I would highly recommend them literally 100 times over. But now it's time to talk about my July TBR, or like more like the books that I just hope I will get to, but they're very high on my radar. And there's actually 3 more that I'm not going to show you guys because they're for a specific video that I want to remain a surprise until you guys actually see the video, so that you're not like expecting what's coming. So first we have Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood. So I've read a few of Ali Hazelwood's books, mainly just her, I think just her summer romances, but I love them. I love her writing. It's just so much fun. It's such a fun time, and this one takes place in Italy over the summer, and that just sounds so good to me. And then, like I said, I want to read all of Annabelle Monahan's books. So we have Summer Romance by Annabelle Monahan, and I am just so excited to read another one of her books. I don't know what this one is about. I am going in blind, completely blind, but I'm just so excited because I'm literally about to put Same Time Next Summer and Nora Goes Off Script onto my favorite romance bookshelf because she's become like one of my favorite authors. I just love her books. I'm just so excited to get to this one. And next we have Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune. And before you guys say anything, I know that this book gets so much hate, like literally so much hate on TikTok, and I'm not like necessarily anticipating to love it because of the premise of it, and I know the trope, or I know like a thing that happens in this, and so I'm not like entirely predicting that I'm gonna love it or anything, but I do want to read all of her books. I read Every Summer After, and again, I really loved it until we got to the reveal, but just her summer, the settings in her books are just so good. So I want to read all of her books. I want to read this one and then her 2 others that she has out right now. So this is the next step. I'm kind of just gonna go in order with her books. So this is the next one, and look how freaking cute. I love pink books. Like, this is so freaking, I just love pink. That's so cute. And then we have Love and Gelato. So this is like a young adult. I haven't read a young adult book in a while, but I am excited for this one because I have heard really good things about it. I'm just like assuming it'll kind of give like the same vibes as The Summer I Turned Pretty. Like, I won't absolutely love it, but it'll be like a really good summer cute book. And again, I'm pretty sure it takes place in Italy, which I just think is so fun, and again, heard really good things about it, so I'll probably get to this one really soon. And then I have another Ellen Hildebrand book because I absolutely loved The Perfect Couple. We have the Hotel Nantucket. I actually have had this on my physical TBR for like a year and a half now, and I just haven't read it because I don't know why. Since I hadn't read any of her books before, I just was anticipating that I wasn't gonna really like them. I thought I was gonna think they were like boring or something, but based on how I feel about The Perfect Couple, I am very excited to read this one now. I'm literally, by the way, I go into every single book blind now because I love to be completely surprised by what happens. So that's why I'm not giving you guys descriptions of these books, because I like to go in completely blind. So I don't know what I'm going in for. I'm just showing you guys the books that I plan on getting to this month. And then lastly, we have The Lake by Natasha Preston. This one, I think I got recommended this on TikTok, and I'm pretty sure it's like, I really don't want to read the back, but I'm like trying to figure out some sort of description to give you guys. All I know is that it takes place at a summer camp, and these 2 girls, they have a history at this camp where something bad happened, but now they're back as counselors. So that's all I know about it. But I'm going to New Hampshire later this month, and we'll be staying on a lake, and I don't know if it's the best idea to read the lake at a lake, but I'm gonna do it anyways because the atmosphere is just, it's just like the perfect, like how could I not, you know? And then like I said, there are 3 more books that I will definitely be getting to this month, but I'm gonna keep those as a little bit of a surprise. So that concludes my June wrap up and my July TBR. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's been so long since I've just like sat down and talk, so I appreciate all of you guys so much. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, and I'll see you guys so soon. Bye guys.